I saw this story and I wanted to come here talk to you guys about it. And I thought, uh, yeah, it's a lot going on out here. It's the reality show with the daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time over here, to be sure to check out the other videos that are down in the pinned comments. And in this particular case, it might be an episode from the previous day. It's the holidays, people are relaxing. I'm also going to take a little bit of break, relax a little bit, not too much. And so you might get one episode a day throughout the rest of the holidays, not too much on that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this particular episode and I would love to hear your thoughts. These were stories that I was kind of like hoping to more cater towards the Facebook audience from next year. But I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. Stories that are outside of the stories that I am most interested in covering on the main channel. And so this is the tone. This is the kind of stuff that we are actually talking about. So this is the story right here, all the way from Ghana. And so if you're seeing the headline, yes, it is as you're actually reading it. And so the article here says, if you read from the top, 59-year-old chasing noisy bird killed by collapsed building. Yeah, that's literally the headline of this entire story. And so uh, they tell you the particular area there. This story happened, you can see on the date there, the 14th of December. That's when they reported the story on Thursday. General News, which is GhanaWeb.com, actually reported on the article, and that's where I'm actually reading it from right now. And so it says, tragedy struck, okay, in Kwasa, Senya, East Municipality of the Central Region, as a 59-year-old man, they state him by name, Peter Owusu, lost his life when an uncompleted building collapsed on him. Now, when I saw the headline in the beginning of this particular thing, I was wondering, did he kind of see the bird, try to throw something on the bird, and then he died in the process of doing that? And so until I actually read the article, and I was like, this is quite weird. Now, this particular story, by the way, does come with a little bit of record from the wife, according to as the article actually put it. If you go back in there, this is what the article actually says. It says, the incident occurred when he was in pursuit of a bird that frequently visited the site. Now, that was my first, because sometimes birds can take on certain habits. That's why birds are used were used as messengers. Not today. You can send a WhatsApp. If you're out there still trying to use a bird to send a message, how? That's it. These are not the 19th, 18th century, 17th century. Yeah, you can use WhatsApp in the modern day. And so when I saw that particular part where it says that the incident occurred where the bird kind of frequented this particular site there, that was my first thought to say, you know what? Yeah, that can be just natural thing. But then also there was another thought that came to my mind, but let's read on. The article will kind of get us there. It says, according to the report, and they state the particular area site that actually stated the report, there was actually even pictures, but I just kind of avoided those because we are on YouTube here and they don't play with the regulations and stuff like that. And so I'm not going to display those type of things. And so there's pictures of the guy after his passing and so forth. I don't know, he broken body, what, all that. And so they say the bird would often make noises at their completed building between 11 p.m., okay, and 4 a.m. So this was something that they had noticed a pattern. When they go to bed, 11, the bed is there all the way till morning and so forth. And then they said, frustrated by the daily disturbance, Mr. Owusu decided to take action to chase the bird away. And so that right there kind of gave the second storyline of, people that go to churches that might teach a certain theology or the demonology, or has these testimonies from Satanists, witches, and stuff like that, because they will talk about activities at midnight, activities at 3 in the morning. And so that particular part where when they paint out the time when this stuff would happen, that kind of gave me the second storyline to say, okay, maybe that was also another reason. This might be spiritual, or they might have thought, because of the testimony they've heard or stories that they hear in the church, in testimonies, this might be the reason why this man took this particular bird so seriously. And why do I bring in church? Because if you read the next part, it then says, in the account provided, okay, the fourth paragraph, in the account provided but the Kwasi branch pastor of Deeper Life, Pastor Isaac Oku Mense, the deceased widow, okay, revealed that her late husband initially threw a stone at the bird, okay, causing it to fly away. But Pasha just it flew away, then it later on came back. And so that's where it brings up, maybe he was a church member, because in this particular article, they don't state the relationship of the pastor to this family or to the wife. They don't say, this was their pastor as a family, or this was the pastor of the wife, and stuff like that. And so this looks like it's information that's actually coming through Deeper Life's pastor thing. And the wife is providing this particular information over. And so the man then threw a stone, the bird flew away. He got tired of that, since he had already put it upon himself to make sure that this bird don't come back. This then kind of counts up for the second line of action, which is actually mentioned in the next portion of the article. It says, as it goes on, that but however, the bird returned after 10 minutes, and in an attempt to rid the area of the bothersome bird, the deceased climbed, okay, to the bottom of over here. It climbed the incomplete building, and unfortunately, the structure unexpectedly collapsed, leading to the tragic demise of the pastor, and he was taken on to the hospital, where he later on was pronounced dead. And so this is where it became clear, those two particular first things that I mentioned. First, it's natural. Birds tend to build habits over certain areas and so forth. I'll give you an example. Growing up, my house, there was always this bird that kind of like hung on the electrical fence and stuff like that. It's not like there were always just birds there. No, but frequently there were birds near our house, like right next to the electrical fence. But if you consider the natural environment where we were, first of all, we were next to a river source, a water source, let me say, not river. And so in the village, you tend to have pipes, stuff like that. And everybody, the villagers, come there to get water. And so my house was next to one of those taps, and there is an area where the water would gather. And so birds, animals would come there and drink water from there. And so simple thing. They are there because there is water right next to us. And so you see all kinds of, frogs and what, and all these type of things. And so someone can overly think these particular creatures without considering you are next to an area where there is a lot of water. And so because of that, you're going to get all kinds of funny animals and stuff like that, insects and all these type of things. And so, but because people are overly fearful, people are taught these things. You go to church, there's 20 testimonies of people, witchcraft this, witchcraft that. You see churches in this modern age where a person will say, a bird got into my house, and it was a witch, blah blah, and then they give all kinds of explanation. And I'm not dismissing those type of stories. There are stories like that where there is a line of thinking. It's not just that a bird got into the house. you know, there's a lot more. They have all kinds of ideas around the bird and what, and they killed the bird, or they killed a lizard, something. You've seen this type of stories. You see Kuba's church, they like posting those kind of things. And churches about deliverance, churches basically love dying of animals, cats, what. And so because of this theology, which is not just entirely Bible, they're not just being taught Bible, they're being taught these ideas that lead them to a fearful mindset. It might have led to him having this overly superstitious thinking over this bird. Was it bothersome? Probably. And it actually, but is it worth it? You know, is it worth it dying chasing the bird? That's the part of it that's thinking. But then on the account that the story is being given by a deeper life pastor and so forth. And so there might be that idea that there is a church that might preach some form of deliverance type of stuff. And so is there that element of superstition that feeds to the fear of the man to kind of cause him to want to climb the building without considering structural integrity and so forth? And so forth. There's a lot of things that just come to you, but it just kind of makes you aware. It helps being taught Bible, is your foundation being Bible, because you're not fearful over everything. You're not just overly careful sometimes about nothing. Not that people shouldn't be careful, but overly careful, overly spiritualizing everything. You kick the ground, the devil is after you. You just missed your step and stuff like that. But then there's nothing just on the average normal. Like you spill water, witches that are after you. You can't just do something that's just a mistake. It's always the devil somewhere, But it's because of all these things that are being taught. But maybe there's an angle of the story that's kind of like gives a little bit more details. But to the story that I'm seeing here, you might give credit to the natural thingy to say, the bird was just there because maybe it built a nest there or something, or maybe the building that's been uncompleted was there for too long. So then, yes, it will account for the bird building a nest or whatever, But we shouldn't live on the hype of the devil. That's not how we're supposed to live. But a lot of churches teach demonology as the theme. It's the only thing. The devil is after you. That's the only teaching that they get. Personally, I don't think that's healthy. But y'all tell me what you think. It's Ricky, and I'll see you on later on episode. You continue having episodes throughout the rest of the week of the holidays. So when you get your time, you watch. But then we'll be back uploading normally from next year. Happy holidays, y'all. Have a good one. It's Ricky.